Happy Canadian Thanksgiving, everybody. Oh, I'm doing that thing with doing. Oh, I'm talking into it. I'm hearing my voice like a split second afterwards, so if I start to drift, bear with me. All right. So we're live here on Friday, which is a rare day for us. We usually go live on Sunday, and we have a special guest with us today. We have Patricia joining us, Patricia Lamb, second place Canadian Nationals champ. Well, we're going to call her the best place Canadian at Canadian Nationals.
I like to call myself the actual Canadian champion.
That's right. On paper, the best Canadian in Canada right now. And of course, we all recognize Jordan. And joining us for the first time on the Metal Live, Amber.
Hello.
Wow. That was epic, Amber. We love you anyway, honey. So let's talk to Patricia first and get everything started here. So Patricia, you're a name that not a lot of people know. You're not a world champion, but your name does show up in a lot of top 8, the major tournaments. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started the game, where you're coming from, how long you've been playing, how many major tournaments you've been in.
I guess I started playing 10 years ago. So, what was my first set? Unleashed was my first set. So, I got into the game when someone brought home some Heroclix from PAX. I'm like, let's play this game. I'm like, alright, sure, whatever. I like playing games. But, you know, they were superheroes. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. So, we played a couple of home games with the demo pack and decided it was fun. So, I went out and bought my first booster. And I pulled that Casey Batson. And wow, this figure's amazing. Even though it's totally crappy, but it was amazing.
And that right there was your first addiction to plastic crack.
It was. Because the second booster was the Casey Wonder Woman. So I was like, oh yeah, I can't stop now. So then I started to play.
As the Chili Peppers would say, can't stop addicted to the shindig.
All right, so you're quite the traveler when you actually look at all the tournaments you've been in. If I remember correctly, you were in last year's European Nationals.
Yeah, it was kind of a vacation planned on top of a vacation. So whenever I go on vacation, I try and incorporate Clix travel within that as well. Because I wouldn't go all the way to Europe just to play Heroclix, but if I'm going to be in Europe, the other stuff is fine, so it doesn't look as bad. So when I was in Europe, I went to Amsterdam, Germany, Paris, and London as part of my yearly vacation. So it kind of worked out.
So again, it was an Essen at the time. So it would have been your stop in Germany that you would have been playing Heroclix?
Yes. So Essen's about 2 hours away from Amsterdam by train. So it kind of worked out that the routing worked out really well. Because my friend lived in Berlin, so the idea was to fly to Amsterdam because it's super cheap, and then go to Berlin and visit her. And it's like, well, Essen's like kind of on the way. I'll go play some Heroclix.
Awesome. Now I have to ask a couple of our guests have gone to the WizKids Opens or the Realms it's WizKids Opens. Sorry. Have you managed to get out to any of them? And if you have, how did you do?
I made it to Portland a couple of weeks ago, so that's about a 5-hour drive from Vancouver. And so I pulled actually a really good team. I was impressed that I actually got decent things out of my booster. So I had the Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, and a Diawraith and Maximus. So I went 3-0 in qualifying, and apparently I finished first in qualifying, but I don't think I actually did. But they seeded me as number 1. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And I lost in the first round to Lim. So now I totally blazed out there in the first round. So I was like kind of disappointed that I didn't go further, but what can you do?
But that's always the hard part of the single elimination portion of all these big tournaments. So you get there, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I have one chance. If I screw this up,
Yeah, like I could have screwed up the 3 rounds of qualifying. It would have been fine, but
yeah, like well, that was like me on day one of nationals. It was my first loss. It was first round against Kevin Cruz, and then with my other two, got my 5th place in the top 8. I was like, all right, cool. I'm in two.
Yeah, I lost to point Tyrant. I just couldn't hit him.
Yeah, it's either you can't hit him or he rolls that invincible off on you or shrugs it all off.
When it did, I crit miss with Ms. Marvel. I prodded myself into that crit miss. I'm like, ah, that's the end of it for her. She's stuck.
Yep, she's not going anywhere. All right. So let's talk about your preparation. Let's go back to Canadian Nationals and your preparation methods. We like to talk to all the guests and see how do you like to get ready for tournaments. How much do you practice? Do you have a good play group? I heard recently you joined Rubicon, and so is that like part of your Worlds training? Or?
So most of my preparation I do back home with my friend Rob. So Rob Bearzall, his name comes up in the top 16 whatever at Worlds. And so he's the one who actually taught me how to play Heroclix well. So I call him my Heroclix mentor. So when we were getting ready for nationals, Rob couldn't make it. So he was like, whatever, that's fine. I'll help you make a team. So I knew I wanted to build a team around Iron Pharaoh and Ophidian, because that's gross. And then so I came up with a concept with Therese and a bunch of other figures. And then he tweaked it to put the Weasel on with the 3 entities. So then I had a +6 with my entity theme team. And then so I was pretty much guaranteed to win map at this point. And then we put it on the Apocalypse map. And then so after building a team and playing it a couple of rounds, I realized it was pretty deadly. We just hide in my corner, double barrier all I want, since I had the entities, and just wait and kill people with the bird. So we built the team and it worked out, and before Canadian Nationals, I flew down to Virginia to play with the Rubicon guys. And so we play tested with them for a bit, and the team was pretty solid, so it was pretty much 2 weeks worth of building and playtesting to get the team ready to go. And then went to Canadian Nationals, came second, so I think it was pretty good.
Well, you can't argue with the top 2. Your name gets up there, and the best. You're still one of the ones that people are going to look at and say, I'm going to emulate that team because it obviously did well enough to make it to the finals.
Yeah, I saw a lot of copies of variants of my team at Worlds. I'm like, oh, if I didn't show up to Canadian Nationals and brought this team to Worlds, maybe it would have been a surprise.
Yeah.
But I guess Patrick had a pretty similar team too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Patrick, I think I saw Patrick in day 1. He was definitely playing with an Iron Pharaoh. I didn't see what else was on him. I think he had a bullseye with him. Yeah. Well, that was his Worlds team. I wasn't sure if he had that at Nationals.
At Nationals, I forgot what he had, but it was Iron Pharaoh and someone else.
Yeah. I remember the
it was Iron Pharaoh Bullseye.
Now I have to ask, because it was a little different at Canadian Nationals, and I'm guessing most tournaments, is they had a whole organized head table where they had announcers off to the side, and then they had the camera over your head. Do you feel that added any pressure into the last game there of the finals?
Well, there are always people watching. Like if you go to Worlds, there's always a huge cluster of people gathered around the big table at the end. So I don't think it adds an extra layer of stress on top of that, because there's people watching. I guess the internet's watching now, and they're going to go back and watch your game and point out all your mistakes. So I guess that's the worst part too. Cause
I mean, I
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. Just I had a part. My connection's laggy. Go on.
Okay. Yeah. So you can go back and see your mistakes, which is one of the things I don't like going back to look at. Because you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, I made that mistake. Oh yeah, I made that mistake. But then to actually have that documented and for the world to see. Because people were like, you shouldn't have lost that game. Look at all those mistakes. I'm like, I know. Shut up.
But it's funny you should.
But mistakes are situational.
Yeah. It's one of those
Mistakes are only. Sorry, go on, Jay.
I was just saying, it's one of those things ever since I started MarriedWithClix. Some of the biggest critics from my comment section. She's like, yeah, I know. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. I watched the video as I edited it. That's actually why I passed on editing to Amber. I couldn't stand
I don't actually watch our videos.
Yeah, like you're pretty stressed out already when you're playing, so you can't really catch everything that's going on. And then, that was the 5th hour to play with Heroclix, so I was mentally exhausted too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the things is when you're in the finals, you've played the most possible games going up to that. You started from yesterday, and then you played every possible round going into that last game.
That's funny. That game was my only loss all weekend too.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that hurt.
No.
Oh.
Well,
but it's funny that you
not
brought
with the Battle Royales.
The whole.
I guess not with the Battle Royales. Amber beat me there.
Yep. Skippy.
Every time I talk about good players at the Canadian Nationals, Amber always brings up that game.
I would too.
Amber, tell everybody here, I guess again, because we already did the video, but who was playing in that Battle Royale that you won?
Patricia and Nick Pearson and Drake Conrad of Canadian Nationals and me, and I won that Battle Royale.
Now, Jordan, you might remember this. Who got top 3 at Canadian Nationals?
Well, I know Drake came 3rd, right?
Yeah. And then Patricia and Nick being in that game again were 1 and 2.
I wanted to start from the top, but then it was just like, oh man, I don't know who came first. I forget his name. I feel so bad.
He's so important.
Anyway, that was actually like that's been Amber's the high point of her career here. And then she smiled ever since that game.
I know how that is. How many conversations have we had where the end of the line is like, yeah, but back in 2008 and Halo. You may be good at clicks, but if we switch games and go back in time, I will kick your ass.
Later tonight we'll power up my Xbox, we'll discuss the Halo, and if I beat you, you're gonna talk about it.
Oh please! I've been playing with a couple buddies recently, so I got some good practice in.
All right, we're drifting. Back to Heroclix. So, when you're planning your teams for Worlds, notice you had the Power Battery and Bizarro, I believe is your team?
For Worlds, I had the Phoenix, Bizarro, and Resurrection Man.
Right. Okay. Phoenix, Bizarro, Resurrection Man. I didn't fully remember the it's been a while since I read it. So what was your strategy going for that one? I didn't look too deeply into your team on that one.
This was me out-meditating myself, actually. So, because I qualified the first day, I had the second day to walk around and see what everyone else was playing. And everyone and their dog was playing Iron Pharaoh. And then, what beats Iron Pharaoh is Bullseye and Bill. So then, I figured, if everyone's going to play Iron Pharaoh, everyone's going to bring Bullseye and Bill to the finals. Because that's what beats him. And then, so if everyone's going to play Bullseye and Bill and Iron Pharaoh, I'm going to play the rock paper scissors game and play something different. So Bizarro probably wins 60% of the time against Iron Pharaoh, and then Bizarro should be able to kill a Bullseye team. So then I was torturing myself all night trying to figure out, do I stick with my Pharaoh team or do I switch to something different? So after a night of deliberation, I switched it up and decided to play the Bullseye team. And I had to face an Iron Pharaoh team first. I'm like, oh, come on. And then I couldn't get the rolls with Bizarre on where I needed him. Some people would always end up on his 8 attack or his 9 attack when he's ready to do something.
That's been my nightmare with Bizarro, is every time I wanted more, it's just like, nope, attack.
Yeah, so I went 1-1 in the Swiss, so I was able to make the finals because I had enough points. And then when I made to the next round in the single limb, lost in the first round single limb to the guy I lost to in the first round. So it was basically a redo. So because I had lost him the first time, I was like, okay, maybe I'll learn from the mistakes. But no, that didn't work again. So I was very surprised that more people didn't play Bullseye, since there were so many Iron Pharaohs out there. So there's really only one Bullseye team.
Yeah, the Bullseye team, if I remember correctly, made top 4.
Yeah.
And I think he had the one bad matchup, which was with the second place guy's Centurion team. So, all right. I kind of got to bring up my Amber's phone. Amber, do you have any questions for him?
I can't think of anything right now.
Oh man, I think we all
I know
got
such a great asset to this episode.
I guess I want to kind of start gauging some opinions on this. I've heard some of the people mention it. Entities, are you think they're getting a little too much of a necessity, or do you think that they're where they are right now?
I think that may be a little excessive now, with everyone playing 3 entities, and then you get +6 to your map because you're a 6-character entity theme team. So, I don't know, it seems like that is a team right now. You have to build a team with 3 entities. So it is getting a little ridiculous and a little gross. So I don't know what they can do about it at this point, because you would have to go back and I guess you could make a rule change in the next rulebook and say only 1 entity per team, but you know, it is what the game is, and I'm okay with it. Like, you don't have to like everything, but the way the game is being played, you have to either play the game or just get out.
Yeah, I find when it comes to the high level, the high level competition, it's one of those things. Is sometimes it's a meta game where everybody has to play the same thing, or the one that does it, or it's a matter of you kind of have to play in a similar way, but with a different style.
Well, it's kind of like when, was it 2012 when the Gauntlet first came out?
Yes.
Basically, every team had Gauntlet, but all the teams were different.
Yeah.
So
actually, that was the first time.
All the teams were different. It was main attacker and then switch.
Now, I do have to say that was actually the first time that you bring up that metagame. That was the first time they started filming the worlds. It was actually the first time I saw you play, because they filmed the game between you and Alex, I believe. You had Eradicator on your team.
It was that Eradicator Superman. You killed the Superman who actually could kind of fight, but he was the best Superman for the points that was still cheap, then gave Eradicator the +1s. I remember that team.
Actually, yeah, I might be wrong, or I might be showing that I'm a little weird with what I remember, but I think, Patricia, your build had a Doctor Strange backing up.
Yes.
Backing up. Yeah.
Eradicator, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch. Plus Gauntlet.
Yes, I remember.
Oh.
Yeah, I know that when you were talking about those, that was one of the top 4 at DragonCon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think in that same year, the winner of DragonCon was a Scientist Superman team with a gauntlet on the Superman, some agents, and Superman.
Oh, you're right. I remember that.
Flash, have you been watching some of the previews from that set, Patricia? What do you think? So far, from what I've seen personally, I don't see anything meta-breaking yet, but I do see some fun, playable stuff across the table. Do you play in those kinds of games as well as high-level meta play?
High-level meta play kind of just exists in the tournament scene, like when I go out and play, but I try and play non-meta stuff when I'm at home playing in the local shop. So just because, I'm around and Rob Bearzall's around, people like to think that we don't know how to play for fun. So, they want to build dirty teams to beat us, and then when we have fun tournaments, I build my fun team, and then they come with this gross entity team. Like, come on, like, what the hell's that?
I'm not gonna lie, I myself started to run into that too. It's like they hear Jason's coming to tournaments, they gotta try hard. It's like I brought animals.
Well, you are practically
I'm not
undefeated
gonna
for
put
War
any
of
names
Light
out
right
there,
now.
but I've seen a few net decks of my teams. It's
So yeah, so I do like playing fun, stupid teams. Like the other day, I played 400 points of Dire Rates. And shockingly, that team is actually really, really good.
I can imagine they'll have shape change or something like that.
You have shape change, and they can reroll their shape change, and they all have prob. So even if you do hit them, I can make you reroll. So yeah,
so you get a
was
bunch of
kinda
tough matchups.
dirty, but I didn't think it
like
would be that dirty.
Yeah, but sometimes you come across some weird things when you're just trying to have fun. I mean, I came across my nationals team trying to see, like, I wonder if I can break the 10th anniversary thing. And all of a sudden I had charging, running shot, giant Batman.
Attack on Titan Batman is a thing.
Look, if I spoke any form of Japanese, I'd probably sing the Attack on Titan song every time I drop Kratos Hammer on Batman. I hummed it, does that count? Oh, man. So have you come up with anything new recently? Like, seen any figures in Guardians of the Galaxy that have popped out at you? Come up with any ideas from that?
Proxima Minute I actually really like.
That name.
Jordan is in love.
It's funny, Jordan's actually over my kitchen right now. We're about to play a game, and look at that, he showed up. Proxima's on the team.
Okay.
Proxima Captain Marvel, baby.
Seriously, yeah, that's the team I built the other day. Proxima, Captain Marvel, the Prime one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the Prime one. Then I had Bill and Weasel and the Orange Battery.
Oh, I'm playing Green Power Battery. Despotellus with Adara Ion on Captain Marvel, and I'm hoping to get maybe that potential 23 defense on both of them.
Okay.
Dirty.
I'm playing things that I find on the internet to play against him, so I'm his gauntlet to run today.
I will be spinning it.
We'll see.
I'm gonna go play some video games.
Nice choice.
Alright. So, how are you doing in your local War Light?
Well, all our War of Lights are structured for fun. So, we have two of them where we just paid in and everyone gets a participation prize. So the winner, and then for one venue, everyone was capped at 8, so everyone gets everything because we just get 2 prize kits.
Uh-huh.
We just pay in, we just play for fun, whatever. And then at the end for the Necron, it's a draw.
Oh, okay, cool.
So everyone wins. And then another venue I play, we had to buy in to cover the cost of the boosters. Whoever wins the LE, and then the other LE goes into the prize pool. And then at the end, we all get a prize from the prize pool. So it's been pretty low key. And then the third venue I play at, that one's actually structured as a competitive build your team, go, go, go. So the first month I totally blew it and lost because I hadn't seen the figures before, I didn't prepare, and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's gonna go.
Was it, it was all sealed, right?
It was all sealed, yeah.
Well, I mean, you always have that thing. Like, I mean, I pulled crap my first 3 War Light events. Then when I pulled Weaponer and Sister Cersei, I rolled when I only needed to roll a 4, threes, probbed it to crit misses 3 rounds in a row.
Yes, nothing to do about that.
Yeah, so sealed will just get you sometimes, and sometimes you just can't build around it.
Yeah,
Tons of players have beat me in sealed that don't beat me in constructed.
Yeah. But then on judging, I haven't been playing that one.
Are your venues allowing you to use the power battery?
Yeah. So one venue can only use green, and then the other one, we've been incorporating the other colors in since they're all out now. So we get a chance to play with any color tomorrow. We're going to play constructed. So it's 5-point constructed, all one spectrums. You can play any battery you want.
Mm.
With the introduction of the power battery and being more of a meta or at least a competitive player, did you find the learning curve on the battery a lot higher than other resources, or were you able to kind of look at the card and be like, all right, I got this?
I think all resources you kind of have to figure out what's going on, because they're all very different in their own little way. So because at one venue we encourage people to play the battery every month so that you can slowly piece together all the pieces to use all the powers. It's kind of like how with the Book of the Skulls, you start with one hammer, and then you get all the other hammers, and then you slowly power up your book and see how it works. Same idea with the power battery. You're slowly adding more constructs over time, and then you can see how powerful it gets, because all your characters are core members, and you can actually use powers 5 and 6. It's useful.
I've never reached those clicks. What are you talking about?
No, your battery dies before you get there.
I'm personally responsible for killing 3 of my own power batteries, and 5 have died in my games.
That was the first thing I looked when I realized the stat bonuses was like, okay, where do I stop? How do I get it? How do I make sure to never kill my own batteries? That's all I care about. People can kill my batteries all day, and that's just misplay. But if I kill my own battery, that's stupidity.
Yeah.
That's gambling.
You rolled that 6 and you're like, damn.
It's like every time I look at it and go, 5 or 6 is the only thing I'm gonna like lose my power battery on. 6. Fuck. The only time I roll a 6, I can't roll a chain, a superset. No, a leadership, forget it. No.
Because why would you want to do that?
But a 5 or 6 when I don't want it to happen, every time. Meanwhile, Amber got some karma at Nationals under the camera for her luck with shape changes.
I have not been able to make a super sense or shape change roll since then.
It's like hyper karma. I don't know if you were watching, but there was one game where she was actually under the camera, and her opponent rolled like 7 super senses of shape change rolls off of her rolls. That was just a ruined day for the poor girl.
It broke my heart watching that game. It was like, oh, another shape change.
It's funny because it's 2 of our local guys.
And it was only on a Phantom Girl, and I was doing enough damage to kill her. If I got the points, scored 53 points from me. It was so rough.
Yeah.
Who was that? That was Dawn you played?
Yeah, it was Dawn.
So, while we're talking about our locales, what's the game, the play like, or how many stores do you have in the Vancouver area? Is it a lot of hyper competition over in Vancouver, or?
The big competitive events are competitive. So, if there's a big prize on the line, like the Necron or the Cyclops, you have to bring your A game. But other than that, we try and play competitive casual, if that even exists. So, you don't.
That would be like then you mean Amber playing.
Pardon me?
The venue me and Amber usually play at the Comic Warehouse. 20 Stratford and Brampton. That's what I would call casually competitive. Like, if the prize is big, everybody brings their A game. If regular tournaments, most people, if they have the prize, they don't usually bring their A game. And usually if a guy does bring their A game, it's like, damn, you really wanted Bill A to take it in.
Unless you're Aubrey.
You brought a team base to a play more than one unique, play more than one prime event. Let's not talk too much smack.
Mind you, like, I think that rule should be like you're allowed one prime only if you play the Squadron Supreme. If you're trying to pull any other shenanigans because we want these guys to be able to play their team, no.
Patricia, what do you think? How do you think you're going to do in Worlds this year? Nationals? I hear rumors of WizKids Open in Canada, even.
I hear rumors, but until I see one, I'm gonna hold my breath and wait for it. So
hey, Alex, if you're watching, allons-y, hey, allons-y.
I like to be one in Vancouver. That'd be fun. That'd be very minimal traveling for a big event. That'd be good.
I would love an excuse to go to Vancouver.
But to be fair, I'd prefer it still to be in Toronto.
Yeah, but everybody in Toronto thinks they want it in Toronto, and they won't show up because you have to try hard to play in the tournament. Oops, I said that out loud.
So if Nationals are in Ottawa again, would you guys go?
Yes. Actually, we're even going. Everybody in this household is heading to Windsor for the ROC. So. But that's in March. That's planning way in.
Yeah.
And with Dan's unfortunate luck, Alex will plan the WizKids Open in March.
It's okay, Jay. I already built the
Don't
team
say
out
that!
of Flash.
Don't jinx him!
Dad would cry if he had to move his event again.
I know. I feel so sorry for the guy. Like, I felt really bad about the actual date on Nationals. I was like, that's ROC, dude.
I was in the same boat because I felt bad for him. I really wanted to just be like, well, Nationals seems more important.
Yeah, I know. I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Nationals.
Oh, first National?
Yeah. And then, I think the thing that hurt us the most is look at how Patrick did with as many ROCs as he had that he was able to travel to. I mean, granted, he's coming from California and he went across the country to go to these. But like, we have to cross a border just to go to one. I wouldn't mind more of them being held in reachable places. I mean, I think last year they had one in Quebec.
Okay. There's
But I never got a chance to see that.
Vancouver on the 25th of April.
25th of April.
Yeah. So the
That's gonna be-
regional is going to be in Vancouver.
And is that going to be that's going to be the full. That's going to be when it's full modern again, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that might be an excuse to go to Vancouver. Okay, I'm going to add that to the list now. Hold on a second.
I was just thinking that.
Here. Add that to the list.
Yeah. So Windsor, Vancouver now. But yeah, we don't have anything planned in the GTA just yet. I don't think one of the issues. I don't think any of the stores are brave enough to take the initial hit on the cost of it, because you kind of have to pay or make the entry fee pretty high as well to make that money back, and then you can make sure you have the space. And a lot of the stores in the Greater Toronto area are very small.
Yeah.
Like, I think
The only store.
I think Comics Warehouse. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say the only store I can think of that I've actually been to is 401. That's big enough, but even still, like that would have to be like, hey, Magic guys, you're not allowed to come to the store because we're only doing HeroClix.
I've been to 401 games. They have a scary basement. It smells funny.
The upper level when it was actually 401 Yonge Street.
Yeah.
No. And what I was saying was, I think the only venue that could possibly hold a low turnout ROC would be Comic Warehouse. I think they said they can manage 60 people playing at once.
That's what they say.
Yeah, I'd love to put them up to the challenge.
Yeah, it'd be 60 to elbows to necks and people playing like this and rolling dice off the wall. Like,
And they had a surprisingly sizable upstairs where they were able to fit 32 people showing up for a War of Light, which was probably the hottest day of the year, and there was no AC up there.
And were you guys elbows to necks to throwing dice off the walls?
Yeah, pretty much. I think I had to throw my dice off of somebody's head once because they wouldn't move.
Get out of my way!
32 people out of the
X-Men, go!
Yeah, actually, for our big storyline events, at least the first month, we tend to pull in at least 30 people. And then every month since then, it drops by about 5 people until by the 6th month, we have our top 10. But yeah, the first month, everybody just kind of comes out of the woodworks, and we're like, we've never seen these people before!
Yeah, War of Light, month 1, I saw more people that I've never even seen on the forums before, like, post on our Facebook page, and it's just like, how did you find out about this? Like, why now?
Who are you? I've never seen you.
Well, one of the weird things I found this year was, or at least for this event, unlike here itself, there was a lot of mules.
Scalpers, not mules,
Yeah,
scalpers.
Yeah.
They're scalpers, that's what they do. They buy their packs, they don't play, they leave, and they sell their figures.
Those guys are the
scalpers.
worst.
Yeah.
We got a lot of those, like 5, 6 new ones, and they think they continue on new sets and like be the new scalpers and sellers for this thing. And it's like, no, go away. Let us do our thing. Our community is bad.
All we
want to
do is
section. We
play.
don't need scalpers.
Yeah. And then these are the guys that end up like defining this overcosted secondary market. Is like, oh, I went to the event and paid for packs, $100 for a chase. I just got a comment on our Facebook page that I'm echoing.
Muted.
Well, I'm going to try to fix that. And I'm telling myself that now. Oh, boy.
For those that can't hear, I can, but Jay has muted himself, and there was an echo, and he was trying to fix it.
Apparently I've been echoing the whole show. Fuck off. Problem is, I think if I leave, we lose the whole thing, too.
Are you still echoing?
I'm hearing myself echo.
Echo's not as bad now.
Not as bad? All right. I wonder what that is. I'm going to have to figure out what that is for the next episode.
I think it might be me. I think you talking is picking up on my headphones, and then it's coming out through me.
Shenanigans. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And my voice carries in this apartment. I guess in this case, we're just about done here for the night anyway. We got to get to some gaming ourselves, so I don't want to keep you too much later. I mean, it's just after work for you, but it's hitting 10:20 here. So, any last words you want to throw out to the fans? Anything you want to add? Anything you're excited about going into the future?
I'm excited for the WizKids Opens and having tournaments year-round. Because before it was just go to Nationals, go to Gen Con, and then that's all you have. So you basically had 3 months of high-level play, and then the rest of the year you're like, oh, okay, well, just kind of keep looking at stuff and keep the brain going, but
you gotta have an off season.
play the meta all year.
I don't need no freaking off season.
People need a rest period from me smashing them all day.
I haven't seen you smash anybody on paper yet, Jordan. Meanwhile, Patricia has smashed most of Canada. All of Canada.
Taking the world by storm.
All right. Once again, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us, Patricia. Jordan and Amber, thanks for joining us today. Sorry we couldn't get you guys talking a little bit more. Maybe next time. In the meantime, it's not Sunday, so it's Friday. So take a chance to go to Twitch TV, twitch.tv/CartaMagicaTV. Subscribe to their feed. And I believe they're going to be playing Heroclix this Sunday, even though it's Thanksgiving Sunday. Don't quote me on that, but subscribe anyway. They have fun on Sundays every so often playing Heroclix.
Which is cool.
Thank you very much, all.